performer DJ Jonathan King infiltrated one of Britain's top public schools to prey on boys as young as 14 before luring them to his flat for sex in the 1970s and 80s. Pop personality Jonathan King infiltrated a top public school to prey on young boys before plying one with alcohol and showing him porn while touching his penis, a court heard today. The former broadcaster, now 73, was shown around by a 15-year-old boy before luring him and his friends to London with the promise of free records and gig tickets, Southwark Crown Court heard today. When King's first school guide came to his home, he was asked to compile a weird list of things including family, friends and sex and put them in order of importance. He thought it was odd, but he completed the list putting family first, said prosecutor Rosina Cottage, QC. On another visit to the same school, King then offered one of the boy's friends tickets to Bruce Springsteen's Born in the USA tour date at Wembley. The boy found his insistence a bit weird but traveled to London to collect the tickets. King picked him up from Waterloo in his Rolls-Royce and took him to his West London flat. King gave the boy a beer, then showed him a porn film and touched his penis. The victim said he was petrified by this, the jury heard. Miss Cottage told how King tried to reassure him, saying that he could telephone a girlfriend to arrange for her to come over and relieve him of his virginity. The boy said he wanted to leave. King gave him the tickets and let him go. Later he dedicated the song Illegal Alien by Genesis to both schoolboys on his Christmas Day radio show. Asked in police interview if he had touched the boy, King quipped, "I don't think I would have done unless he'd asked me very politely." King, who had a series of top 10 hits and hosted TV shows like Entertainment USA, is accused of sexual offenses against 11 victims at Southwark Crown Court. On another occasion King took one of his victims to visit a friend at school, a sixth form boarder. When police raided his home they found a picture pinned up of a blonde boy, signed on the back, "To Jonathan, Love X, November 78. Police also found a diary detailing sexual exploits with young boys on a trip to Mexico. He speaks of trolling and cruising to pick up 15 and 16-year-old boys in his car for sex. One night King took a family out for dinner and visited their home to spend time with their 16-year-old son. He writes, "After the oldsters went up to bed, telling John not to be too long, I bought him a drink and then we strolled up to my room to exchange addresses. Well, of course the books came out and were utilized. From small beginnings to great progress. I played it very much on the, goodness me huge for 16 lines. Soon I was measuring with tonsils. Some pangs of guilt dispelled by goodness. How did that happen?" Cambridge graduate Jonathan King rose to fame as a singer, songwriter and music producer in the 60s and 70s. He had hits with Everyone's Gone to the Moon in 1965 and Una Paloma Blanca in 1975. He discovered Genesis and wrote and produced hits for teen idols the Bay City Rollers. During time in New York in the 1980s, he hosted the BBC TV show Entertainment USA. He speaks of landing in Acapulco and after dropping his bags immediately goes out cruising. A fabulous boy, 15, ran across the road in a tiny pair of shorts and nothing else. M's Cottage said, he gets in the car and he pays him $5. I don't think really the rest needs much explaining, jets everywhere. We say this is exactly what he's doing in London and by this time he's very expert at picking those who are just the right age for him. He wants them young, older boys gets bristly and that's not what he wants. These were the trophies in his sick game of power and manipulation over boys. Most of the charges against King, 73, involve pickups in the car outside venues where he knew he could find young boys, cinemas and record shops. Many of the victims described the lasting impact of mental health issues, drink dependency and suicide attempts as a result of the abuse. While some were one-off encounters, others were preyed on repeatedly. The charges relate to exposure, to touching both over and under clothes, sex acts and the most extreme sexual abuse. The defendant said that he had only ever had consensual sex and did not have sexual contact with some of the alleged victims. Cambridge graduate King had hits with Everyone's Gone to the Moon and Una Paloma Blanca. He discovered Genesis and wrote and produced hits for teen idols the Bay City Rollers. In court he wore a black suit with bright blue and red Nike high tops. King, of Bayswater, denies 17 charges of indecent assault and 7 counts of buggery on males aged between 16 and 21. The trial continues. The court heard King name-dropped stars like comedian Kenny Everett and model Samantha Fox in a bid to impress alleged victims. In April 1970, he pulled up alongside a 15-year-old on Tottenham Court Road in his white Daimler Sovereign saloon and asked whether he wanted to help him promote some records. The car was fitted with tinted windows, a TV, a stereo and cocktail cabinet. He took the boy to a Chinese restaurant and got him drunk while name-dropping Kenny Everett before and then took him back to his home. The prosecutor described how the victim was shown King's music room and his next memory was of waking, naked, in the defendant's bed which had black shiny sheets. After carrying out a sex attack on him, King gave him £5 for a taxi home and he never saw him again. The prosecutor showed jurors a video of King's home, pointing out a topless picture of 1980s Page 3 model and singer Samantha Fox. Samantha Fox is someone who the defendant occasionally described as his girlfriend to one or two of these young men, she added. One said he was starstruck when King pulled up in his car and started speaking to him.